Hello and welcome back. This week I'd like to talk to you about student support services at Mount St. Mary's. And I want to bring up the idea of student support services because students often underutilize student support services. And that's at colleges across the nation, not just at Mount St. Mary's. One of the things that we know is that students aren't always aware of the student resources, or if they're aware of them, they don't always realize that those resources are meant for students like them, and so they fail to go in and seek help when needed. In this video, I'd like to talk you through the top 10 student support services that we have here at Mount St. Mary's. Now, of course, we have more than 10 student support services here at the Mount, but I want to talk you through just a handful. That way we can get a sense of things that you as an instructor can help refer students to when you see that that student needs that resource. The first resource I'd like to talk you guys through is the Learning Resource Centers. Now we have 2 Learning Resource Centers, one on each campus. The first one that I'll talk through will be the Chelan Academic Support Center, and then the second one is the Doheny Student Resource Center. Both of these are centers that help support learning and learning resources within the classroom. The Academic Support Center has a variety of services which you can help recommend to your students. One of the things I most often recommend as a faculty member is the fact that students get free scholar peer mentoring. And what this is where a student who has aced a previous class and has been deemed to have the appropriate tutor by going through some training with the center, they become tutors for other students in subsequent classes. So for example, when I teach our statistics classes, I often recommend students to become peer tutors because I want next semester for there to be some quality tutors for my upcoming students. They have a variety of other services within this department, and one of the other ones I recommend most often I'd say would be those disability services. This is great for students who have already documented needs and they can help you with accommodations for those students. Or the other one that I run into often is how to accommodate students who are pregnant and are expecting a baby during the term. So those are, I'd say, the 2 services that I personally use most often as a faculty member who's centered over at Chelan. They offer professional tutors, they offer testing, life skills workshops, they offer so much more. But I encourage you to offer some of these as resources to your students when you see them needed. If you're teaching primarily over at our Doheny campus, let's go ahead and stop there. If you're teaching undergraduate students over at the Doheny campus, then the Doheny Student Resource Center is where you'd want to send students for assistance with academic tutoring and such. One of the differences between this program here is that they actually have professional tutors over here that work within writing, particularly in math, and some other subject areas. They do have a peer counseling program, but it's not the one that they rely on as much. I think that I've sent more students over to those professional tutors that are within these consultations or the mathematics tutoring for statistics as a faculty member. Additionally, one of the other things that you probably should know about as a faculty member is that they have student success counseling, which is where they're trying to encourage good skills like note-taking and time management and such in our students. Additionally, they also do the Summer Pathways program, which is a program where students who come in slightly underprepared for college can gain the skills that they need to get up to speed. So this center does focus a little bit more on helping students acculturate higher education. And so if you've got a Doheny student you see struggling to adapt to college life, this is an excellent place to send them. Now, as a little side note here, there is another learning resource center for the graduate and the weekend college programs, and that is through the Professional and Academic Resource Center, or PARC. So again, that's for if you're teaching within some of our other programs, you should know that that's available as a faculty member as well. If you're looking for where to send students and you're looking for the Chelan Academic Support Center, then you're going to be looking over into the building right here, which is the Humanities building on the 2nd floor. Whereas if you're looking for the Student Resource Center over on our Doheny campus, those are out in buildings 2 and 3, depending on which services that you're trying to send students to. The next place that I'd like to tell you about is the Career Services and Internship Center. And one of the nice things about this is that they, of course, connect students to all the things that you would think they would, right? Internships, job opportunities, but they also talk to students about how to figure out which graduate schools to go to and how to find ones with programs that are appropriate to what their career goals are. Another thing that's interesting to know about this as a faculty member is that the career services will come in and do presentations within your classroom related to whatever it is you're teaching. So for example, if you're doing social psychology, they could come in and talk about the career outlook for social psychologists. The career services is on both campuses again. If you're looking for where to send students to, the Shalon Center is over in Humanities 401. So again, back in the Humanities building over here on the 4th floor. Whereas on the Doheny campus, they're in building 11, which is really, really close to the mansion and such, just right across from it. The next resource that I recommend is actually our Student Health Center. With the Student Health Center, they provide all of the basic care and examinations for students. But one of the things that faculty members don't realize is that if you need something like a flu shot or if you need something like a Band-Aid, you can of course stop by here as well. With this, they also have a lot of programming to try and help students achieve wellness and such, and they're part of the larger health and fitness groups here on campus. So I encourage you to have students reach out to them, particularly if they might be sick and need an excuse note for your class. They can go over and just go see somebody, and then of course, if you're open to it, you can provide excused absences for that doctor's note as well. Both of these are, of course, again, on both campuses. The Doheny one is over in building 3, which is right over here. And the Shalon one is again over in the Humanities building, and it's over on, I believe, the 1st floor there. Yep, 1st floor. One of the related services to our health center is the Counseling and Psychological Services Center. And this is one that as a faculty member, I've certainly interacted more with our students. They do a lot of work around stress management or around anxiety, particularly test-taking anxiety management, in addition to all of the regular counseling sessions that you would think about as being part of a counseling and psychological services center. One of the nice things about this too is that I found as a faculty member that they are super open to having you walk a student over if a student is in crisis, because that actually ensures that the student will get to there and will be seen by somebody. Again, we have offices on both campuses here. Over at the Shalon Center, it is actually right next to the Health Center on the 1st floor. So again, over into the Humanities building on the 1st floor. On the Doheny campus, it is over in building 15, which is that kind of larger building that you come into when you're first coming into campus. It's over the doors, you access it over on the interior side. Additionally, if I find that a student is extra stressed, one of the things that I can recommend as a faculty member is that they get more exercise and they support themselves through other wellness initiatives better. So for example, eating better quality foods or getting more sleep at night. And we know that these things have a relationship to how well students learn, and so I do think it's something that faculty members can approach with a student in the context of talking about how it supports their academic career. Two things I really want to point out here that are somewhat new to the Mount, and I'm not sure if a lot of faculty members know about them, is that students have the opportunity to go see fitness assistants to help them with their fitness goals and how to use some of the facilities and such. Additionally, they have peer wellness advocates, which are students who are trained to help them make better lifestyle choices. So again, these are opportunities for students that would be excellent if you see a student struggling with wellness needs and you're seeing that affect their academic records and such. Again, we have opportunities for this on both campuses. The whole Sports and Wellness Center is based out of largely the fitness centers that are on both campuses, although you can see that sports, physical education, special activities like the hikes that we do are all related out of here, as well as sports clubs. But the fitness centers on both campuses are in slightly different areas. In the Chelan campus, it is up on the top, up by the courts right here. So you can see that that's the tennis courts right there and the pool as well. So the health center is over here. On the Doheny campus, you'll see that it's right here in building number 8. Pardon me, not building number 8, building number 8.5, because, you know, we have a building 8.5. The Health and Wellness Center over at the Doheny campus is building 8.5, which is right next to classroom building 4, so you've probably walked past it several times as a faculty member and not quite known what was in that building. Additionally, some students don't realize that we, of course, have a pool over the Doheny campus, and we have other sport courts here as well. The next support that I would encourage students to reach out and take advantage of if they're in that position is Title IX supports. And Title IX is where we are trying to encourage students to be living in areas where there's no discrimination based on the basis of sex. And there is a whole variety of services related to Title IX, but the one that, as a faculty member, that I've had to refer students for in the past is when I've had a student who has been sexually abused or discriminated upon. And with that, as a faculty member, I want to make sure that the student gets the support services that they need in order to help them deal with such a tragic event in their life. The person that I personally reach out to often as a faculty member is Bernie Roberts, and you can see her contact information there as well. Although many people also go through security offices with this, especially if there's a criminal aspect to this as well. Additionally, if a student is telling you about Title IX complaint, you yourself might want some supports because those things can be really hard to hear. And so you can see that we have a huge community assault responses and education support team with a whole bunch of different people that you can talk to and a whole bunch of resources that are both related to on-campus and off-campus supports. And so I encourage you that if you find a student that's in that circumstance, or you yourself find yourself in that circumstance, that you reach out to us either for yourself or on behalf of that student to make sure that everybody is cared for. Again, there's offices on both campuses. As you saw with the contact information, there's people that are on both campuses. Additionally, there are people who are both confidential and non-confidential sources, and you'll see that that is indicated down on the side. The confidential sources are normally people within our health offices or within our Catholic Support Services offices. The next thing that I'd like to talk about is campus security. And people think about campus security as being important for security, like physical security. However, I'd argue that they're also an important point to know for yourself as a faculty member if you need to assist students in case of an emergency. So campus security is obviously on both campuses, and they can respond if a student has a medical emergency. They can be a good contact point because they can help facilitate calling 911 or having those ambulances come through the gates. Additionally, sometimes they are trained in some basic services, or they can connect over to people in the health services if you need assistance in that manner. Additionally, obviously, campus security is great for having your students who may be walking home late at night to help them feel confident and safe on campus, especially in our downtown campus where there's a lot more people that come and go through that campus. With this, you can have them reach out to people on either campus. Like I said, they are located in slightly different places. At Chelan, of course, we have guards at the main gates, but then also there is a little hut that's up here at the top of the circle right here. It's that tiny little square right there. They have a phone number. If they're not personally in that hut right there, you can call them and they will come to your aid immediately. On the Doheny campus, of course, we have ones here at the gates as well, but then also there's a little hut over here on the campus, and it's kind of right over here somewhere really close to the mansion. And again, same thing. If you need them, there's a phone number posted on the door if they are not physically there, if they're out patrolling, and they can help you or students, like I said, with any sort of personal security needs that you might have. The second to last service that I'd like to highlight here is the Academic Advisement and Study Away Office. And often one of the things that faculty members do is when they see students who are struggling, we do those academic difficulty notices. And with that, that sometimes automatically goes to the advisor. And so I wanted to make an important point here is that faculty don't always realize that a student's advisor is not always actually located in this office. At Mount St. Mary's, we have faculty advisors in addition to an academic advising office. And as a faculty member, that may sound kind of odd if you're not familiar with our system already, but the purpose of that is that we have a place, the Academic Advisement Office, that advises students who are undeclared and also advises students who are in those pre-professional programs, so they're not yet fully admitted into the degree-granted program. Whereas students who are in a program, they already know, for example, like our psychology majors, they have a faculty advisor who is, of course, a faculty member primarily who also does advising throughout the semester. And it's good for you as a faculty member to know about this because when you send those academic difficulty notices, realize that you might be sending them to somebody who's in this actual office, or you might be sending them to a fellow faculty member. And so I've always wanted to make a point to point that out to faculty members that when you tell a student to go see their advisor, it may not always be at this particular office. It may actually be that they're going and seeing a faculty member because they have a faculty member as their advisor. Again, there's locations on each campuses, but like I said, most of our students within our major have a faculty advisor, so you can actually see when you send those academic difficulty notices who that is based on that notice. The last office that I want to talk to you guys about as a student support service that you might need to refer students to is the financial aid office. And this sounds a little odd, but I do find that as a faculty member, sometimes students disclose to me that the source of their stress that is causing the academic problems in my class is financial. And so because of that, it's important to tell students, especially students who are new to higher education, that they can have their financial aid packages re-looked at throughout the year, particularly if there have been financial changes within their family. So knowing where financial aid is can be a really key part of a student's ability to take that stress off their lives or their ability to actually stay in school because they'll have the financial support they need. Again, we have financial aid offices on both campuses. Over at Doheny, it's in 745, which is that newish building that's out on Adams. Remember, as a student, they actually access it from inside the interior places of the campus, and they walk through the buildings to the back over here. And there's a whole bunch of other student support services over in this particular office, such as the registrar's office and the business office. So students are probably actually more familiar with where the student financial aid office is than you are. On the Chelan campus, the financial aid office is over in the administration offices, which is building 3. Remember, in order to get there, you walk up to the 4th floor of building 5, and then you go into that hallway area, and you would normally come out right here into the circle area, but the administration building is the one that's connected to that. Again, student financial office is right next to the registrar and right next to the business office. So again, students are probably fairly familiar with where it is, but you can help direct them to them in case they need to seek updates or other amendments to their financial aid package. Thank you for watching this video on student support services. I think that you as a faculty member are key in helping our students be connected to these resources and help them get support that they need. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.